Court scenes are not a new thing on YouTube. We've seen how guilty prisoners act violently in the courtroom. Some have even been attacking the judge. But this video is about innocent convicts. Let us see 7 instances where innocent convicts were set free. Number 1. Bobby Johnson. In July 2007, this man named Bobby Johnson was convicted for the murder of 70-year-old Herbert Fields in New Haven, Connecticut on August 1, 2006. Then Johnson was only 16 years old, and in September 2006, his audio tape of confession was produced. That happened after a long questioning session with the police. Later, he revealed he had to accept the guilt to avoid further questioning. Police could sometimes be very scary and compelling. Here is proof. 38 years. Yes, he spent 38 years in jail. Kwame Wells Jordan, 14 years old, did not confess and was acquitted after trial. On October 7, 2013, Johnson's habeas corpus petition was denied. After this, in 2010, a reinvestigation of this case was started by the Connecticut Innocence Project. This is when 2 other men were found as the real culprits with proof. One man's palm prints were found on the victim's car. Moreover, the murder weapon was from one of them. After the trial, the New Haven's court attorney Michael Derington barred Johnson from his accusations. In September 2015, Bobby Johnson was set free. That was the end to the 9 years of prison life for doing nothing wrong. Number 2. Ricky Jackson. Introducing to you Ricky Jackson. This poor man has to spend more than 29 years, that too for a crime he has never committed. Jackson lived in Cleveland, Ohio. He was arrested at the tender age of 18. A 12-year-old boy, Eddie Vernon, was the witness. Only later, he revealed he was forced to point at Jackson as the convict. Initially, Jackson was given a death sentence by the electric chair, but after 3 years, his death sentence was reduced to life in prison. After 40 long years, the then 12-year-old Vernon came back with a huge revelation. He didn't see Jackson committing the murder, just witnessed the moment the judge declared him innocent and set him free. That was a serene moment. Jackson had no breakdown, just gratitude in his eyes. We have seen guilty culprits reacting wildly in the court, but here Jackson is such a calm person. As he went outside the building, the media was there to welcome him. He shed a few tears there, a free man for the first time after nearly 4 decades. Jackson was given $1 million in compensation from the state and $2.65 million in lost income. Do you think the money will ever compensate for everything he has gone through? Comment your thoughts down below. Number 3. Kristen Lobato. This lady, Kristen Lobato, had spent 16 years in prison for a murder accusation. A homeless man in Las Vegas was found dead, and this 18-year-old girl was accused of it. At first, the court imposed first-degree murder on her, but in the following trials, she was charged with voluntary manslaughter with a prison life of 13 to 45 years. Lobato was charged with murder in 2001, aged 18. It was not until the Innocence Project, a group dedicated to helping people who have been wrongly convicted, took an interest in Lobato's case that she was found not guilty and released from prison nearly 16 years after her real conviction. But after 16 years, another court order came saying when the actual event happened in Las Vegas, Lobato and her family were 3 hours away from the crime spot. See Lobato inhaling fresh air after setting free. I feel overwhelmed. I feel excited. I feel grateful. I'm so happy. Who is the reason behind her shattered youth? She had filed a lawsuit against the Las Vegas Police Department. This is a brave and intact action. Anyways, it feels good to see how Lobato is all excited to go shopping. Number 4. Susan Mellon. This is Susan Mellon. She received a life sentence when she was 43 because of a testament given by an untrustworthy witness. She was charged with a murder she didn't commit. She was taking her daughter out for a Happy Meal, but then the fake witness claimed that Mellon had committed the murder. But later, after some proper investigation, the informant was revealed to be an untrustworthy one. After 17 years in jail, Mellon was released. She walked on the streets with joy, and a big smile on her face was seen at that time as well. She also took her daughter on a Happy Meal treat, which she had waited for so long. We can't stop smiling. As compensation, the state of California paid her $597,200, and the Los Angeles City Council agreed to pay $12 million to Susan. Number 5. Walter McMillan. In Monroeville, Alabama, a young white lady named Rhonda Martha was killed. She was working as a clerk in a dry cleaning store. Unfortunately, Walter McMillan was convicted of this crime. Let's see why. McMillan was a 45-year-old logger with no history of any crimes. The police were already in turmoil to solve the case with an engaging community to answer to. That was when the police found something. McMillan was having an extramarital affair with the victim. This woman was already divorced. There were 3 witnesses against McMillan, and the court ignored some black alibi witnesses. He was found guilty, based on the fake testimony of a person and despite accounts from various black witnesses who could vouch for his whereabouts at the time of the killing. As a result, he was even sentenced to death by electrocution. After 6 years, it was proven that the evidence was weak to keep McMillan in prison. He was not in Monroeville when the lady was murdered. He was in fact at his house at the time. Anyways, the truth prevailed at last, but the innocent man lost 6 years of his life. Number 6. Raymond Towler. On May the 24th, 1981, in Cleveland, a young girl and her male cousin were riding on their bikes. At that time, a man led them into the woods, saying there was a wounded deer that needed their help. These kids went into the woods to see the deer, which was not there. Suddenly, this man pulled a gun from his pocket. In no time, this man grounded the boy and even sexually assaulted the girl. The police had started the investigation with the help of a sketch of this man. Weeks later, they found Raymond Towler, who had an uncanny resemblance with this man. The victims identified Towler as the attacker after taking quite some time. Maybe the kids were also confused. 2 other witnesses also saw the perpetrator in the park that day. They were also brought in to choose Towler's photo from an array. Based on these identifications, Towler was charged with assault, rape, and kidnapping. The proof the court had was a strand of black man's hair. No proper DNA test was conducted at that time. According to lawyers' testimony, the hair exhibited the identical microscopic features as Towler's hair, to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. Hence, according to his testimony, Towler might have provided the hair. Hairs do not possess enough unique individual microscopic traits to be positively identified as having come from a certain person to the exclusion of all others, he stated in his testimony. Towler also took a stand, but despite all of this, the court pushed back his claim, referring to lack of evidence. Eventually, Towler was sent to prison. He waited for 28 years to get the DNA results, knowing he was innocent. Later, the Ohio State awarded him $2.5 million and $4.7 million in a civil lawsuit. Number 7. Richard Jones. This case showed the dangers of relying on only eyewitnesses. Richard Jones of Kansas was wrongly arrested in 1999 for a robbery in a Walmart parking lot. Despite the absence of a proper DNA test or other scientific evidence, the court took eyewitnesses as the proof. However, the real robber was a man named Ricky, who looked exactly like Jones. We cannot blame the eyewitnesses because we can't say who is who. Their hairstyle, skin tone, and features were uncanny. Ricky had previous cases too. In 2016, after 17 years, Jones was set free. A compensation of $1.1 million was given to him. The happy man went to meet his grandchildren. How was the video? The world is not safe, even for innocent people. If a criminal has a resemblance with you, you are done. You have to wear a helmet wherever you roam the streets. Just kidding. But getting punished for not committing a crime is the most absurd thing. What do you think about these cases? We'd love to have a real conversation with you on this topic. Feel free to comment your thoughts. Also, do not hesitate to like and share this video. More interesting and intriguing content is brewing and will be served soon. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.